If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Kevin Stefanski walked into the post-game press room at MetLife Stadium with that familiar mix of frustration and determination written all over his face. The kind of look that tells you a head coach knows his team just missed a golden opportunity, and that the questions waiting for him are about to come fast and heavy. The Cleveland Browns had just lost 27-20 to the New York Jets, a game that, on paper, should have been theirs to control. Instead, it turned into another gut punch for a team still trying to carve out an identity in a season that's slipping through its fingers. And make no mistake, this wasn't just another loss, it was one that peeled back every weakness, every inconsistency, and every ounce of pressure sitting squarely on Stefanski's shoulders before fans even settled into their seats. The Browns were already chasing ghosts to special teams disasters, back-to-back. Blew the game wide open in the first quarter. Keen Wang was sliced through Cleveland's coverage unit like a hot knife through butter, racing 98 yards to the end zone for a kickoff return touchdown that sent MetLife into a frenzy. You could almost feel the air being sucked out of the Browns sideline. Moments later, it happened again. Isaiah Williams fielded a punt, danced through arm tackles, and sprinted 74 yards to pay dirt. Just like that, the Jets made history to touchdowns on consecutive special teams touches. It was the kind of statistical anomaly that would sound like fiction if it weren't so painfully real for the Browns. Kevin Stefanski didn't sugarcoat it afterward. "Yeah, obviously not good enough," he said, his voice low but controlled. "We can be way better than that. Some of these big ones. You got to get the guy on the ground and limit what could be a bad return for you. But get him on the ground for a gain of 20 or whatever it is." You could sense that his words weren't just directed at the media. They were a message to his locker room, to his staff, and maybe even to himself. The Browns' special teams, under coordinator Bubba Ventrone, had been considered one of the more disciplined groups earlier in the year. But this meltdown raised questions that can't be dodged anymore. How does a team give up to touchdowns like that? Back-to-back, how does it happen to a squad that prides itself on preparation and detail? When Stefanski was asked about Ventrone's job security, he stood his ground. "I have a ton of faith in Bubba. We have to be better, that's the case," he said. But the reality is that Cleveland fans have heard that before. Faith and patience are running thin in Northeast Ohio. The Browns' special teams have been shaky for weeks, from missed field goals to botched returns. And Sunday's fiasco might have been the final straw. Social media was brutal. Clips of the returns spread like wildfire, fans calling for heads to roll, analysts dissecting every missed tackle frame by frame. Stefanski can preach trust all he wants, but the NFL is a results business, and right now, the results are ugly. Still, what's gnawing at this team runs deeper than special teams. There's another storm brewing, one that could define Stefanski's future more than any return coverage breakdown ever could. It's the quarterback question. Rookie Dillon Gabriel, making his fourth start, once again flashed moments of promise and poise, but stumbled when it mattered most. He finished 17 of 30 for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Numbers that look respectable until you watch the tape and see the misreads, the late throws, the lack of rhythm when the game tightened up. The Browns' offense sputtered in key moments, settling for field goals, punting from midfield, and failing to sustain drives that could have flipped the momentum. And now, everyone wants to know the same thing. Is it time for Shedeur Sanders? The buzz around Sanders has been building since the day he was drafted. The swagger, the pedigree, the arm talent, it all feels like a match made for a franchise desperate for excitement. Cleveland's fan base has watched the rookie warm up before games, throwing lasers in pregame routines, and wondered when Stefanski will finally unleash him. But the coach isn't biting, not yet. "I don't think it's fair to speculate," Stefanski said when pressed on the possibility. "We are committed to getting better as an offense. Dillon is committed to improving in any which way he can." That's classic coach speak, the kind of line meant to calm waters while the storm swells underneath. Stefanski went on to remind everyone that all young players, including Sanders, are developing behind the scenes, but fans aren't buying it, with Cleveland now sitting near the bottom of the AFC standings, their playoff hopes dangling by a thread. Patience is thin. Every week Gabriel struggles. The cries for Sanders get louder. It's not just talk radio chatter anymore, it's in the locker room whispers. The fan chants, The national show's wondering if Stefanski is overthinking this, because here's the thing: when a team is out of contention, it's usually time to see what the future looks like, and right now, the future has a name: Shedeur Sanders. The pressure on Stefanski is reaching a breaking point. He's defending his special teams coach on one hand and his quarterback choice on the other, all while trying to hold a locker room together that's starting to lose faith. For a head coach, that's the ultimate balancing act: maintaining authority and optimism in a season that's slipping away. And yet, he's been here before. Stefanski has weathered storms in Cleveland, from quarterback controversies to injuries to fan unrest, but this one feels different. This one feels like it's coming from all sides at once, behind closed doors. Reports suggest that Sanders has been turning heads in practice. His timing, his leadership, the way he commands attention when he steps into the huddle, it's all there. But Stefanski insists that throwing him into the fire too soon could do more harm than good. He's seen what happens to young quarterbacks rushed into unstable situations. Still, it's hard to ignore the noise. Every throw Gabriel misses, every stalled drive, every loss, it all feeds into the same question: what exactly are the Browns waiting for? The irony here is that Stefanski's conservative approach might be the very thing that costs him his job. Fans want a spark, something to believe in, and Sanders represents that hope. Even if he's raw, even if he's not ready, he embodies the kind of energy that could unite a fractured locker room and reignite fan enthusiasm. Right now, this team looks flat, emotionally drained. The kind of group that knows it's underperforming but can't figure out how to stop the bleeding. A bold move, like starting Sanders, could shake things up, but bold isn't usually Stefanski's way. He's a methodical coach, a believer in process over panic. That's admirable when you're winning, but when you're losing, it starts to sound like stubbornness. Next week's matchup against the Baltimore Ravens looms large. Not because it's a playoff-deciding game, it's not, but because it might decide how long Stefanski keeps the locker room. The Ravens are surging, playing with swagger, physicality, and precision, the exact qualities Cleveland is missing. If the Browns come out flat again, if the special teams implode and the offense sputters, the noise around Stefanski could turn into a roar. The calls for change won't just be about quarterbacks or coordinators. They'll be about the head coach himself. Still, if you listen to Stefanski, you hear a man who hasn't lost belief. He talks about fundamentals, accountability, and growth. He talks about being better next week. But words only go so far when the results keep repeating themselves. Fans don't want sound bites, they want wins. They want energy. They want a team that fights with purpose. And right now, Cleveland doesn't look like that team. There's a growing sense that something's got to give. Maybe it's a coaching change on special teams. Maybe it's a quarterback switch. Maybe it's both, because the Browns can't keep walking this same tightrope, hoping things will magically click. The NFL doesn't wait for teams to figure it out. Every week is a test, every mistake magnified, every decision scrutinized. For Stefanski, this is the crucible moment. He's facing double trouble: one unit failing him on the field and another question threatening his credibility off it. And yet, amid the frustration and noise, there's still a chance for redemption. That's the cruel beauty of football. One gutsy decision, one statement win, and everything changes. Maybe Stefanski has that move up his sleeve. Maybe Shedeur Sanders finally gets the call. Maybe the Browns, battered but unbroken, use this embarrassment as fuel to rediscover their identity. Because if they don't, the narrative will write itself, and it won't be kind. Right now, Kevin Stefanski stands at the crossroads. Behind him, a team that keeps stumbling. Ahead of him, a fan base demanding answers. Somewhere in between, a young quarterback waiting for his chance. And as the clock ticks toward Week 11, the only certainty is this: something has to change in Cleveland, or the change will come for them. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Hold on tight, because the Browns locker room just got a seismic shakeup. The buzz around the NFL world is that Justin Simmons, yes, the defensive maestro we've all been watching dominate the field for years, has officially signed with the Cleveland Browns. And sources close to the organization hint that he's not just joining, he's orchestrating. This isn't just a regular signing. The Browns aren't simply adding another player to their roster. They're inviting a leader, a cerebral presence, someone who can dissect offenses before they even get out of the huddle. Simmons, long hailed as one of the smartest safeties in the game, is reportedly stepping into a role that goes far beyond the X's and O's, and let me tell you, rumor has it, he's already started organizing the defense, setting the tone, and commanding attention in ways that have fans and insiders alike talking nonstop. From what we're hearing, the Browns front office had been quietly maneuvering to create the perfect landing spot for Simmons. Cleveland has always been a team with ambition, a roster with talent that sometimes struggles to convert potential into consistent performance. Adding Simmons to the mix could be the catalytic spark the Browns desperately needed. Imagine the defensive meetings, now Simmons at the center, pointing out tendencies, teaching younger players the subtle art of reading quarterbacks and shifting schemes on the fly. This isn't just a signing, folks. This is a cultural shift. Sources suggest that his leadership extends into every corner of the locker room. The rookies reportedly look up to him immediately, while veterans are said to be giving extra attention when he speaks. He's not just part of the defense, he's the defense. What's particularly fascinating and perhaps a bit audacious is the way Simmons is reportedly approaching this. Instead of just slotting into a pre-existing system, he's actively communicating with the coaching staff to tweak and tailor strategies that maximize his skill set while elevating the entire secondary. Imagine a player with the authority to fine-tune coverage schemes, suggest blitz packages, and advise on matchups week after week. That's the kind of presence Simmons brings. Word around the NFL grapevine is that the Browns' defensive coordinator is thrilled, but also keenly aware that Simmons isn't a passive participant. He's an influencer, a strategist, a quarterback whisperer. But for the defensive side of the ball, this, my friends, could be the dawn of a Browns defense unlike anything we've seen before. And let's not gloss over the timing here. The NFL landscape is shifting rapidly. Teams are constantly vying for the edge, and a defensive signing of this caliber, mid-off-season chatter, sends ripples across the league. Opposing quarterbacks are likely already reviewing tape, trying to anticipate Simmons' impact on everything from deep zones to complex disguises. Analysts are speculating that his mere presence could change how offenses game plan against Cleveland, forcing teams to rethink routes, quarterback reads, and even protection schemes. And the Browns, they're playing it cool publicly, but insiders hint that the locker room energy has transformed almost overnight. The kind of confidence and swagger Simmons brings is palpable, and it's resonating with a roster that's been searching for a defensive heartbeat. What's really sparking conversations behind the scenes, though, are reports that Simmons' influence is spilling over into personnel discussions. He's been spotted in informal meetings with front office personnel, reviewing potential draft picks and free agent targets with the precision of a general. Sources claim he's particularly focused on building a secondary that complements his style, emphasizing versatility, intelligence, and speed. This isn't just about one player making an impact on the field, it's about reshaping the entire defensive identity of a team that has been in the middle of the pack for far too long. The Browns, long considered a team with potential but inconsistent execution, now seem to have found someone capable of orchestrating not just the plays, but the philosophy of their defensive game plan. Of course, this isn't without its whispers of intrigue. Some insiders suggest that Simmons' arrival may cause tension among established players, particularly those accustomed to traditional hierarchies in the locker room. But here's the kicker. Sources claim that instead of friction, there's been an unusual and almost immediate buy-in. Younger players are said to be inspired, hungry to learn, while even seasoned veterans respect the command and clarity Simmons brings. Rumors are swirling that he's become the go-to voice in practice sessions, sometimes redirecting drills, offering insights, and pointing out subtleties in opposing offenses that leave even coaches pausing in admiration. It's one thing to be a great player. It's another to be a tactical mind that elevates everyone around you, and according to multiple sources, that's exactly what Simmons is doing in Cleveland. The implications for the upcoming season are immense. Analysts and fans alike are speculating that this could be the turning point for the Browns' defensive consistency, perhaps even redefining the team's identity in the league. Imagine a defense led by a player who not only makes plays but anticipates them, who organizes coverage like a chess master, adjusting formations and alignments mid-drive to counter offensive strategies before they materialize. And it's not just speculation. There are reports from training sessions that Simmons' impact is immediate. Communication among defenders is sharper, rotations are cleaner, and morale is higher than anyone has seen in recent seasons. The Browns aren't just signing talent, they're signing leadership, strategy, and an almost preternatural football IQ, and as if that weren't enough, there's another layer to the story. Word is that Simmons is already eyeing long-term influence, not just a single season. Some sources claim he's subtly mentoring young safeties and cornerbacks, guiding them in film study, positioning, and reading offensive schemes. He's reportedly encouraging a culture of accountability, communication, and instinctual play that could take years to fully materialize. But the seeds are being planted right now in a league where defensive consistency is hard to come by. Having someone like Simmons essentially acting as an on-field coach is a potential game changer. Rumors suggest that his presence could redefine how the Browns approach draft strategy, free agency, and even game day play calling for years to come. So, as the Browns prepare for what promises to be a high-stakes season, the whispers are growing louder. Justin Simmons isn't just another free agent signing. He's a tactical brain, a leader, and according to multiple insiders, the linchpin around which the Browns hope to build a dominant defensive identity. Every conversation, every report, every rumor seems to point toward the same conclusion. The Browns are no longer just competing, they're evolving. The NFL community is buzzing, fans are speculating, and the Browns locker room, well, let's just say that insiders hint at an energy shift so palpable you can almost feel it from the outside. Justin Simmons is in Cleveland. He's organizing, leading, and quite possibly rewriting the defensive blueprint of a franchise that has been craving this kind of stability and intelligence for years. And if the whispers are true, this is only the beginning. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!